Okay, let's dive right into this. Today we're exploring a truly esoteric and, honestly, completely mind-bending text by independent researcher Octavio Báez Hidalgo. It's called Repagular Theory. And let me tell you, whether you're a seasoned physicist or just someone really interested in the deep mysteries of consciousness, this explainer is absolutely going to challenge the very foundation of how you view reality. The author presents a framework that tries to bridge the massive gap between hard physics and metaphysics, proposing an entirely new cosmological structure. We are going to unpack this theory step by step together, looking directly at how the source material redefines literally everything from the atomic scale all the way up to human consciousness.
To kick things off, the author throws out this incredibly provocative question, one that pretty much instantly flips our standard cosmic assumptions completely upside down. Ready? What if we are the dark matter? Just think about that for a second. In mainstream physics, we are taught that we are the normal observable matter, while dark matter is that mysterious, invisible stuff making up the rest of the universe. But this text asks us to imagine the exact opposite. What if our entire known universe is actually just the obscure, dark fraction of a much grander, luminous reality?
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the claim that we are the dark matter. Second, we will define gravitonium and repagules. Third, we're redefining energy. Fourth, we'll cover the illusion of time. And finally, consciousness. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. We are the dark matter. The paradigm shift.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core contrast here. We've always been taught that our observable universe is just a tiny fraction of what's actually out there, right? Maybe around 5%, with the rest being this mysterious dark matter and dark energy. But the text argues that our 4D reality, literally everything we can see, touch, and measure with our instruments, is actually the dark matter. We are the 5%. On the flip side, we have what the author calls global reality. This is the 100% white matter and energy. According to the source, this broader reality contains absolutely everything, totally unconstrained by the 4 dimensions we are so familiar with. Our universe is really just a localized, heavily restricted projection of this massive, brilliant whole.
Moving on to Section 2, Gravitonium and Repagules explained. Let's build our vocabulary of reality. First up on our list is gravitonium. Now, according to the author, gravitonium is the continuous, undivided base matter of absolutely everything. And a quick clarification here. The text doesn't mean gravitons in the standard quantum physics sense, not at all. In this framework, gravitonium is almost like a universal ether. It totally transcends standard spacetime. It's not made up of these discrete, jumpy little particles. Instead, think of it as a smooth, continuous existence that is everywhere, in everything, both in our universe and out there in the broader global reality.
Which naturally leads to a big question. If gravitonium is literally everywhere as a smooth continuum, why do we see distinct objects? Why are there stars, planets, and, atoms? Well, that brings us to our second definition, the repagle. The author describes a repagle as an algorithm, or a microprogram. Honestly, it's best to think of it like computer binary code. A repagle takes this invisible, undivided gravitonium and translates it, or programs it, into something we can actually observe in our specific 4D reality. So when a scientist measures a particle's position, they aren't actually touching the base gravitonium. Nope, they are interacting with the repagle, the algorithm itself, which is just delivering a specific result to their instruments.
All right, Section 3, redefining energy and matter. We are looking at a brand new physics equation.
Now just look at the stark visual contrast we have here. On one side, we have Einstein's rock-solid, famous equation, E equals mc squared. This classical formula assumes a few basic things, right? It assumes space and time exist, specifically relying on the speed of light. But the text argues that in the ultimate global reality, time and space just do not exist in the way we experience them. So over on the other side, we've got this new symbolic repagulation math. The formula reads V, then a strange symbol, M, symbol, symbol, E. These unusual symbols actually replaced your standard equals signs and multiplication. They represent a process of repagulation rather than strict mathematical equality.
So the crucial point is exactly how we're supposed to read this new equation. The author systematically breaks it down for us. Step 1 is vibration. Step 2 is that this vibration programs matter. And step 3, that programmed matter repagulates into energy. You see, it's a chain reaction. Instead of mass just equaling energy multiplied by the speed of light squared, the text is actually claiming that a foundational vibration programs the continuous gravitonium, which then causes it to manifest into the energy we interact with every single day.
But wait, what actually sets off that initial vibration? Where does it come from? Well, the theory presents what it calls the second law, and it states,
Every concentrated intention transforms matter. The text neutrally lays out the idea that human intention itself can act as that initial impulse on global matter. It suggests that if you concentrate your intention strongly enough, it actually alters the repagules. It literally dictates how that base gravitonium translates into our physical world. It essentially merges the hard physics of energy with the power of conscious thought. Let's move to section 4, the illusion of time, and these algorithmic layers. The text uses a really brilliant, helpful metaphor here to help us visualize all this. Think of a 3D printer. Imagine reality being printed out just layer by layer. According to the author, time literally layers our localized reality into existence through repagination. Each individual layer moves to create vibration. But here's the catch. In our 4D universe, we are stuck. We only have access to one single layer at a time. We experience this as the present moment, constantly moving forward, but in this theory, it's really just the algorithm sequentially executing layers of reality.
So how in the world does this massive algorithm stay perfectly in sync? Well, the author claims light works as the base clock that coordinates everything in our universe. Normally, we think of light as a cosmic speed limit, right? But this text argues it's actually a fundamental metronome. It is the literal clock speed of our cosmic computer. It makes sure our localized 4D world doesn't crash, it keeps cause strictly before effect, and it ensures that entropy only ever moves in one single direction for us.
But keep in mind, our universe is just that tiny 5% dark fraction. The text posits that, in the whole reality, the 100% global matter, time simply does not exist. Beings or entities operating outside of our little limited simulation, they are completely free of linear time. They can access any layer of that cosmic 3D printer whenever they feel like it, simply because they are not bound by the speed of light's metronome. Which brings us to section 5, consciousness and the whole. Let's talk about the human soul.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that the theory takes a deeply fascinating turn regarding you and me. It explicitly asserts that the human soul is an intelligent repagule. It's a self-aware algorithm. While our physical bodies are totally, strictly bound by those 4D rules and that base clock of light, our consciousness, our soul, actually belongs to the greater whole. We are literal fragments of that 100% white reality, just temporarily manifesting right here in this localized simulation. And because our soul is an intelligent repagule, the text argues that we have these incredible hidden capabilities for navigating the whole. The human mind can actually act as a startup process. Through deep conscious focus, or what the text calls illumination, humans can theoretically bypass that base clock. We can totally transcend our 4D limits to access the wider white reality without any physical constraints whatsoever. And ultimately, when our physical body dies, the text claims that our intelligent repagule simply unlinks from linear time and seamlessly returns to global time.
So, we wrap up our explainer with this lingering question presented by the framework. Are the limits of reality simply the limits of our perception? If Octavio Báez Hidalgo's Repagular Theory holds any weight at all, then absolutely everything we measure, touch, and see is really just a localized, heavily filtered translation of an infinitely broader existence. It leaves us to wonder, if we can truly understand the algorithms of our own consciousness, what layer of reality might we choose to print next? It is definitely a fascinating lens through which to view our place in the cosmos.